मातङ्गवदना पालया
मातङ्गवदना पालया
मौलीश्वर शिव गौरीनन्दन
मौलीश्वर शिव गौरीनन्दन
मौलीश्वर शिव गौरीनन्दन मंगलदायक सिद्धिविनायक
मंगलदायक सिद्धिविनायक
मंगलदायक सिद्धिविनायक
मंगलदायक सिद्धिविनायक
ईश्वराम्बा प्रियनन्दना
ईश्वराम्बा प्रियनन्दना
रत्नाकर कुलभूषणा
रत्नाकर कुलभूषणा
अखिल लोकाराजना
अखिल लोकाराजना
परम पूज्य पावना
परम पूज्य पावना
आपस्तंभ सूत्रना
आपस्तंभ सूत्रना
अंतरंगा रंगना
अंतरंगा रंगना
भारद्वाज सगोत्रना
भारद्वाज सगोत्रना
भव्य नामा कीर्तना
भव्य नामा कीर्तना
भव्य नामा कीर्तना
भव्य नामा कीर्तना मानस भजरे गुरुचरणं मानस भजरे गुरुचरणं दुस्तर भवसागर तरणं दुस्तर भवसागर तरणं गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय साईनाथ सद्गुरु जय जय साईनाथ सद्गुरु जय जय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय शिवाय नमः ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय शिवाय नमः अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुण शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुण शिव ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओम नमो बाबा ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओम नमो बाबा ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओम नमो बाबा ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओम नमो बाबा
वन बंगार परती बाबा
मन बंगारु परती बाबा
मन सिंगार वरदा साई
मन श्रृंगार वरदा साई
मन बंगार परती बाबा
मन बंगारु परती बाबा
अंतर्यामी बाबा
अंतर्यामी बाबा
मन सर्वांतर्यामी साई
मन सर्वांतर्यामी साई
सर्वान्तर्यामी साई
सर्वान्तर्यामी साई
धिम धिम धिमि धिमि नटन शिवा
धिम धिम धिमि धिमि नटन शिवा
तांडव केलि विलास शिवा
तांडव केलि विलास शिवा
लीला मानुष वेश शिवा
लीला मानुष वेश शिवा
लिंगोद्भव कर साई शिवा
लिंगोद्भव कर साई शिवा
साई शिवा हर बाल शिवा
शिवा हर बाल शिवा
साई शिवा हर बाल शिवा
शिवा हर बाल शिवा
आदि नारायण साई नारायण
आदि नारायण साई नारायण
जय हरि नारायण जय जय
हरि नारायण जय जय
पट्टनिवासा हरि नारायण
निवासा हरि नारायण
पट्टिनिवासा साई नारायण
निवासा साई नारायण
वरद नारायण वेद नारायण
नारायण वेद नारायण
तच्छय्योरावृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजं शन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे शं चतुष्पदे वरद नारायण वेद नारायण
नारायण वेद नारायण
जय हरि नारायण जय जय
हरि नारायण जय जय
जय साई नारायण जय जय
नारायण
जय साई राम जय साई राम
जय साई राम जय साई राम
जय साई राम
जय साई राम जय जय राम
बोलो जय साई राम जय जय राम
जय साई राम जय जय राम
अनाथ रक्षक साई राम
रक्षक साई राम
आपद बांधव साई राम
बांधव साई राम
प्रेम स्वरूपा साई राम
स्वरूपा साई राम
प्रेमावतारा साई राम
प्रेमावतारा साई राम
परिपूर्णावतारा साई राम
अवतारा साई राम
साई साई स्मरण करो
साई साई शरण करो
गुरु चरण कमल ध्यान धरो
गुरु चरण कमल ध्यान करो
केशव माधव भजन करो
केशव माधव भजन करो
सद्गुरु साई सेवा करो
सद्गुरु साई सेवा करो
श्री सद्गुरु साई सेवा करो
सद्गुरु साई सेवा करो
सर्वधर्म प्रिय देवा
धर्म प्रिय देवा
सत्य साई देवा
साई देवा
अल्लाह येशु पुत्र नानक
साईशु बुद्धर नानक
सौराष्ट्र महावीर तुम हो
राष्ट्र महावीर तुम हो
राम भी तुम हो कृष्ण भी तुम हो
राम भी तुम हो कृष्ण भी तुम हो
विश्वरूप तुम हो
विश्वरूप तुम हो
विश्वरूप तुम हो
विश्वरूप तुम हो
साई विश्वरूप तुम हो
Love is my form, truth is my breath, bliss is my food.
Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food.
My life is my message, expansion is my
My
life.
life is my message, expansion is my life.
No reason for love, no season for love, no birth, no death.
Season for love, no season for love, no birth, no death.
Satya dharma ananda, shanti is my form, truth is my bread, bliss is my food.
Love is my form, truth is my bread, bliss is my food.
साई हमारा हम साई के ऐसा प्रेम हमारा
साई हमारा हम साई के ऐसा प्रेम हमारा
साई राम हमारा साई राम हमारा
साई राम हमारा साई राम हमारा
सत्य साई है नाम तुम्हारा शिरडी साई अवतारा
सत्य साई है नाम तुम्हारा शिरडी साई अवतारा
हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख ईसाई सबका पालनहारा
हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख ईसाई सबका पालनहारा
साई राम हमारा साई राम हमारा
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 हरि भजन बिना सुख शांति नहीं
भजन बिना सुख शांति नहीं
हरि नाम बिना आनंद नहीं
हरि नाम बिना आनंद नहीं
प्रेम भक्ति बिना उद्धार नहीं
भक्ति बिना उद्धार नहीं
गुरु सेवा बिना निवान नहीं
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं
जप ज्ञान बिना संयोग नहीं
ज्ञान बिना संयोग नहीं
प्रभु दर्श बिना प्रज्ञान नहीं
दर्श बिना प्रज्ञान नहीं
दय धर्म बिना सत्कर्म नहीं
धर्म बिना सत्कर्म नहीं
भगवान बिना कोई अपना नहीं
भगवान बिना कोई अपना नहीं
हरि नाम बिना परमात्मा 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 नहीं
हरि भजन बिना सुख शांति 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 नहीं
हरि नाम बिना आनंद नहीं हरि भजन बिना सुख शांति नहीं सुख शांति नहीं
शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।
Sairam everyone. Welcome back to another week of our sessions. Before we start, we'll begin first with 3 ohms. Om. Om. Now we'll just go through the house rules. Okay, so we would request everyone to please mute your microphones. You can turn on your video, that's optional. However, if you liked your video to be turned on, please ensure that your attire is proper. The chat box is available. Please note the setting. There are two settings. One is to chat with everyone, and the other setting is to chat with individual person who are on the list. The chat box will be used to answer questions that the speakers will be asking. Or if you want also, if you have any questions or any doubts or you have any concerns, please type Sairam in the chat box and one of our admins will unmute you and help you out. Please refrain from having a separate discussion in the chat box so that we can include everyone and it becomes an inclusive discussion. So before we start for today's session, I would like to invite one of my co-speakers for today, which is Sisniti. Sairam, Sisniti, are you there?
Sairam. Yeah, I'm here, Sairam.
Sairam, how are you, Sisniti?
Good. How are you, Sis Anchal?
Good. A little bit nervous for today. I guess it's for there's a change this time. I'm the one who's been talking instead of moderating, but I'm sure Swami is there to guide me along.
Same here, Sis. First time speaking. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's your first time speaking, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So today's class will be about the software and let's just begin. Neer, so did you actually join last week's session? Okay, last week's session was held by our two brothers, which was brother Bharat and bro Natesh. And the session was about creating created to create you. And it was talking about creating the true you. I had missed out on the last bit of the session, but I was trying to read up more about it. And I've been thinking about it. What do they mean by creating the true you? Did you hear about that part of the session?
Yeah, I actually joined the session last week and it was actually good, yeah. Even actually, sister, I was having the same thought. I was thinking, what is this, see, the true you, the true you. So I thought like, what is it? I'm true kok. I'm here kan right now with you speaking. I'm living, I'm breathing.
Benar,
What
that's true us.
exactly? Tapi terus apa maksudnya? So I did a research on it. So everyone, here I am, the true Neer, and the true sister Anchal there. With the grace of Sri Satya Sai Baba, we would like to share with you on who is the true you.
Great. Now let's move on to the next slide.
Anchal, ini our class kan it's about software ya. Can you please explain what the class is all about? Nanti people think we're talking about ini lagi, technical lesson.
No, this class is not about technical lessons. So I was thinking about this whole true you concept and everything. And all of you all who knows me, you all know I love explaining using analogies. I explain using examples. That works better for me. So I was trying to understand, like, okay, what analogy should I use? And all of us, I'm sure, we have been living in this virtual world for the past few months that all we see is computer, Zoom meeting, everything is virtual, our phones, everything. And I'm on my laptop constantly, all of us are. So I thought, let's use that as the analogy, okay? So let me try explaining this and see if it is clear. Okay, you know how a computer is made, a desktop, yeah, is made of several different parts. It's made of either its hardware. Now the hardware is everything on the outside, which is there's your keyboard, there is your screen, there is your CPU, there's your mouse, there's your speakers, everything is considered your hardware. Now this is very similar. If I compare it to the human body, okay, I'll be comparing all the time to our human. So between the computer and the human, yeah? So if I compare it to the human, this hardware is very similar to our outer and also all our different organs, okay? So like we have our outer shell, obviously, we have our skin, we have our looks, we have our eyes, nose, ears, and also we have our kidneys, heart, liver, everything. So that all is our hardware. Now, if a computer has all these things, what do you think is the most important part of the hardware? Neer, what do you think would be the most important part of the hardware?
I think it's the no, not I think. I know it's the CPU, because everything has to be connected to the CPU, right? If there's no CPU, I don't. They won't work. All these hardwares.
Correct. So the CPU, which is normally the big black box, or if it is in your laptop, is behind, it's the below part of your laptop, or like nowadays it's at the back of your screen. That is the CPU. Now, if CPU is the most important hardware in our body, the most important organ that controls all is our, next slide, please. Correct. And the next slide again. One more, please. Okay, we'll skip that. So our most important CPU is out here, our brain. Yeah. Now, in our brain also, then on the computer, if it just has everything, it has all this hardware, for sure, it needs also software. Now, all these softwares are like, all your operating systems, whether it's a Mac, whether it's a Windows, or even you have all your tools right now, your Google Classroom, your search engines, your Microsoft Office, all these are your software. Also in our body, we also have a software that connects everything. What do you think, Neil, is our software?
I know, the mind. The mind is our
Correct.
software.
That sounds good. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yes, so here, like how I've explained, the CPU is like our brains here, and our software, next slide. Sorry, can we go to the next slide? Yes, thank you. So this is the software is our mind, okay? Like, how our software here has everything that we need to create the presentation, to create a document, create everything. This all is the mind. The mind is the one that our thoughts, everything that influences us from the outside reacts, and we have it in our mind. So to me, our software is our mind that makes all these decisions. Now, with the computer, what else is needed? You have your hardware, you have your software, but what is one more thing you need, Nir?
Bentar ya, let me think. Hardware semua udah, software udah. Apalagi, everything is there, no? Complete.
Ada satu.
Enggak,
Now,
tunggu.
we need, for sure, apa? We need electricity.
Oh yeah, how can we
Okay,
miss
if it-
that?
Yes, if we don't have our electricity, nothing would work. Whatever happens, it wouldn't work. So we need the source of power. And to me, personally, what is my source of power? My source of power, obviously, is not PLN. It's for me is, or like my PLN to me is Swami, except nggak pernah mati lampu with him. He is my unlimited source of power. With him, I feel I can do anything. So he is my source. So, and I'm sure for all of us here, Swami is our power. So to me, how everything is connected. So my power, like just how electricity is needed in the computer, the power source is Swami. So far, is it clear, Nick and Neer, or did I lose you? Understand,
okay.
yeah?
Coba, wait ya, let me just get this straight, okay? Let me just try to recap what you're trying to say here. So,
Okay.
according to your analogy, that the hardwares like the mouse, the speakers, the screen, it's actually the same like our body organs, like our appearance, our looks, right? What you're trying to say? And then
Correct.
the CPU is our brain, which control basically everything. And the electricity is Swami, which is basically our energy source.
Correct.
Because
And what
without
is-
him, we cannot live, basically, right? We
And-
cannot turn on, we cannot function.
Now, that's correct. And you missed one more. What is our software? Is the mind.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
The
now
mind.
if we have all these parts, do you think the computer will be able to work?
Yeah, we can. Of course, it can
Okay.
it can work. Huh.
Now, I personally don't think it'll be able to work.
Huh?
Can we go to the next slide? See, we have not plugged it in, Neer. You can have your computer, you can have everything, you have your power, but if you have not plugged it in, will it work?
Ya no lah, how can? My laptop aja sebentar mati kalau nggak plug-in.
Nah,
Benar-benar.
good time
You're
for a
right.
new laptop then, Neer.
Paling penting itu connection, paling penting. Nggak ada connection, susah.
Krishna. That is always the hardest, the connection it is, right? So for me, you know how I was talking about Swami earlier being the source of power? Swami always says, like, you know, he keeps on, there's this famous quote that I keep on getting reminded about is, especially now, that the fact that we can't travel, we can't go to Puttaparthi, and we all miss Puttaparthi so much. Like, as you all know, we were supposed to have so many trips, we were supposed to have festivals, everything has been pushed back, and we don't even know when we can make it to Puttaparthi anymore. But again and again, I keep on getting reminded by this quote of Swami that he says, I'm above you, I'm below you, I'm in front of you, I'm beside you, I'm everywhere. In fact, he also says the most important part for me is when he says, I am within you. When he says, I'm within you, that feels like he's right here. I don't need to go to Puttaparthi. We feel like, yes, we go there because, like, you know, there's a Mahasamadhi. That's a place where we connect. Or we feel that, you know, oh, I had a beautiful trip to Parthi. I could connect so much. But even Swami says, you can connect to me anytime. Just immediately, I'm inside you the whole time. I'm within you. And, you know, that reminds me of even this Draupadi Krishna story. Have you heard of this Draupadi Krishna story before?
I'm not sure, sis. Can you please elaborate on that?
Okay. So what happened was, as you know, the Kauravas lost, cheated the Pandavas, and they went into there when they were gambling, and they lost the kingdom, they lost everything, and they even lost Draupadi. And that was because of some of the tricks by the Kauravas. So when Draupadi was brought into the court and everything, the Kauravas started pulling her sari, trying to disrobe her. And Draupadi was crying and asking for everyone to help her. No one came to help her. She even called out to Krishna. Okay, first when she called out to Krishna, I'm not sure the exact words, but I remember, you know, when she was saying, like, you know, first she said, Krishna, Krishna, the one that dwells in Vrindavan, please come here. Krishna, Krishna, the one that resides in Mathura, please come here. Krishna, Krishna, please, please come here. And Krishna took his time and then he came. You see, when she asked Krishna later on, she was like, Krishna, I called you so many times. You're my Lord. You can see this whole thing is happening. Such injustice is happening to me. Why did you take your time to come to me? And he said, you know, when you first said the king of Vrindavan or dweller of Vrindavan, to make sure, because Krishna said, I have to be true to my words, what you have asked me. I have to go to Vrindavan first and come back. Then when he says about Mathura, he says, I have to go to Mathura first and then come back. The last you told me was Krishna, Krishna, the indweller of my heart, my every thought, please come to me. He said that was very easy. Immediately I came to you, and your sari, when even though how much ever they pulled, it never unraveled. So that's our connection to Swami. He's right there. He's within us. He is our heart. He's our conscience. And all we need to do is just sharpen this connection between our mind and him, our heart, our conscience, and with him.
Okay, so sis, we have to connect our heart and our mind. But the problem is, yeah, our mind to keep on jumping from one thoughts to another. It's so difficult to actually, you know, listen to the heart. Then you know what? I tried to do a research on it, and I stumbled upon this video that beautifully explains the nature of our mind.
Well, let me see the video. I think I have it here also. Yeah, you see, I love this illustration that I found with the heart and the mind.
Yeah.
Okay, can we play the video?
Understand why the mind deflects us from even obeying God's command, we must first try to understand something about its origin and nature. Let us start with animals and consider a rat, for example. The rat has a body, which includes, of course, the sense organs like the eyes, nose, ear, etc., and a brain. The rat has something more, which is life, and life comes straight from God or the Atma. Thus, schematically, a rat may be described as an entity with a gross body and a component of the Atma, which is the source of everything, including the entire universe. What about humans who have evolved from the lower species? In their case, there are similarities, but also important differences. Like the lower species, humans too have various sense organs and, of course, a brain, which by the way is quite remarkable. But it does not end there. Since humans were specially created by God to enact out His divine drama, they have something extra, which is the mind. In a sense, the mind is a frontier, that is the meeting place of, shall I say, the extension of the Atma on the one hand and the brain on the other. Having descended in a sense from the Atma, the mind is extraordinarily powerful. In fact, Krishna himself says so. It is because of this amazing power that humans are able to do so many amazing things. At the same time, having evolved from the lower species, the mind carries the imprint of a lot of animal behavior, such as anger, cruelty, and so on. In short, when humans try to play out God's instructions in the divine drama, what actually happens is decided by how the mind of every single human responds to two different forces. One force pulls the mind towards the world and all it has, while the other force tries to pull the mind towards God. The result in each case is determined by how much influence the heart exerts to counter the pull from the side of the external world. It is important to understand this point clearly, for this alone explains why some people are good and others are not so good. In the case of a person who is good, the influence of the heart is strong. It illumines the mind strongly. The result is that the good in the person is able to defeat the forces of evil within, and the individual emerges as a virtuous and spiritual person. If, on the other hand, the mind of the person gets polluted by the external attraction, then the negative forces lurking in the mind manage to shut out the light of wisdom and knowledge emanating from the heart. Eventually, the person becomes a cross between an animal and the devil.
Such a beautiful video, Neer.
Yeah, right? I know,
Yeah.
right?
It's perfect. Like
Understand why the mind
it explains everything so clearly about how our mind has two poles. One is the worldly matter, and the other one is all the spiritual matters. Just like, you know, how in our software, we also have to be careful. There are good software, legit software, but there are also other software that might contain viruses. So this is why I was comparing the mind to the software. So this gets more clear in my analogy,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. That's right.
And you know, nowadays, don't you feel like the mind gets influenced by so many different things? It's just so easily influenced.
Yes, right. I completely agree with you, sis. Completely agree that actually the source of our what do you call that? Yes, sorrow. You can say it's actually the mind. You know, our mind actually plays tricks on us.
Mm-hmm.
Our mind plays tricks on us. You know, actually, to test this, okay, to test this hypothesis, let's all do an experiment, okay, to actually prove that our mind plays tricks on us.
Wow. Okay.
So,
can I join this experiment? I'm excited.
Of course, everyone, please do join in this experiment, because in this experiment, we are going to prove that our mind is so powerful that it actually plays tricks on us. So, I need everyone to please close your eyes. Take 2 minutes, sit calmly, and just close your eyes. Disconnect yourself from this world. Take a deep breath in and out. Okay. Now, sorry, Sairam, Sister Anchal, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So, now, imagine yourself walking in a forest. Just imagine yourself walking in a forest. And as you're walking, you hear a rustling noise to your right. You stop and look to your right, but there was nothing. You continued walking, and suddenly the rustling noise came back. This time from your left. Again, you stopped and looked to your left. Now, again, you find nothing was there. Again, you started walking, but this time you heard the rustling noise right behind you. And then you stopped. And when you turned, you can now open your eyes. You can now open your eyes. Tyra, can you please turn on? Yeah. I hope everybody could hear me just now. That was quite loud. Okay. So when you stopped and then you turned, what did you imagine that caused the rustling noise? Please type what you thought in the chat box.
Ooh, that was interesting. Okay, I wonder what everyone thought the rustling noise was. Come on, everyone, get creative. What do you think was the rustling noise? Can you guys type your answer in the chat box, please?
Okay, a wild animal. What else? Bro Bharat was the rustling noise. Okay,
Someone
monkey,
said monster, wind,
monster.
stream, gorilla, snake. Wow.
Okay.
Tree, lion, bear. All the animals have come out.
Oh, yeah, because it's a forest, so it should be animals, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then okay. So what did you guys feel? Just imagining yourself in a forest, walking alone, and then suddenly you heard all these noises, this rustling. What did you guys feel?
I felt
Scared?
nervous, obviously. Scared.
Okay, I would definitely go and run away. I would not even stop. I would just run away. Oh my god, I would just do that. Sidam, I would just leave. Okay, scared, fear, okay. Yeah, scary. Okay.
So everyone agrees, yeah? It was scary, yeah?
Yeah. Everybody thought even I would get I would get scared. Okay, so guys, so basically, the one that actually made the rustling sound is actually a bird. And I never mentioned that you were walking alone at night. You see, this is all in our mind. When we are put in certain situation, our mind tends to be directed towards the negative side. So, of course, just now when I asked you all to imagine walking alone in the forest, immediately your mind is directed towards, oh, it must be something scary. I would also feel that way. I would also think that way. I would not even stop. I would just run away without even trying to find out what made the rustling noise. Because in my mind, I would think that maybe, oh, it's a ghost. Oh, it's a snake. You know, something scary. That is the nature of our mind. It is always directed towards the negative side. This proves that our mind is just playing tricks on us.
And also,
Now,
Neil, sorry, maybe what I realized also, you know, like how you say your mind was playing tricks. I didn't realize it till you mentioned. You had never said that, what do you call it? This thing happened at night. But because there was a picture of the forest at night, we all assumed that that was happening at night. So same thing. Sometimes what we see is not the reality. Sometimes what
exactly.
you see might be something different. than what is actually happening to you. Same thing,
Yeah.
even the sound. You had a background sound of something scary, rustling, and everything with the wind blowing. But again, what we hear might not necessarily be the same thing.
Exactly. You're right. See, when we see something or when we hear something, we already assume, our mind already is directed towards something that is not good, that is not positive. It is always like that. That is the reason why we have all this fear, why we have all this sadness. I'll just share one thing, yeah. Let's say, okay, somebody lost their loved one. I lost my grandmother last year. Okay, that happened. Of course, it broke me down at that particular moment. It was a, a devastating thing to lose somebody very dear to you, right?
Of
But
course.
I found myself, until now, if I think about her, I would not stop crying. I would just sit alone and then I would think, oh my God, I miss her. You know, how my mind is just, that those memories I made with her. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because of that, oh my God, I miss her. I miss those moments that I spent with her, all her laughs, everything. That made me cry. And when I lost her, I thought, oh my God, what is going to happen to me in the future? How am I going to survive this world? How? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? That happened to me for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Then only, of course, after some times, I realized, after crying out, breaking down, pouring my heart out, and then I come back to the real world, to the reality, and then I realize, ah, actually, my present is just fine. Right now, I am just fine. But what made me cry so much, just the 5 minutes before, it then only I realized that it is just our mind. Our mind, it traveled to the past, it traveled to the future. It never want to stay in the present.
Mm-hmm.
That was the cause of sorrow in me. It was not the life, it was not this, it was nothing in real. It was not real. The sadness, it was not real. I just realized it was just in my mind. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
the same. I'll tell you one another fact, dear sister. Before
Mm-hmm.
doing this class, oh my God, I was so nervous, so scared. What will happen? What if my internet connection goes down? Because I've got a very poor connection. I think last night when we were doing the trial run, you see how bad my connection was. So
Mm-hmm.
that was already playing in my head. Then again, come on, you know what? Why would you go through everything twice? Why would you want to be so scared twice when you can just stay in the present and enjoy the moment? And then whatever happens, whatever that is going to happen, it is going to happen anyways. So why fear like
Exactly.
that?
I agree. Even like
Exactly.
people say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be worried about the past. Don't be worried about the future. It hasn't happened yet. The past, it already happened. Focus on the present and enjoy His presence. Know that His presence is there with you in this present time. Not
Yeah.
talking about all these negative
Mm-mm.
situations and everything right now, what we all are going through, this whole COVID situation, we hear negative news every single day. We are so, when we see the numbers, we keep on getting forwards, we keep on getting like different messages, everything. And you hear, like, especially for me, I live by the hospital, and then you keep on hearing sirens of ambulance when you go out, when you have to just go out, or even fill the petrol of the car or whatever. You can see ambulance just whizzing by. It's always full of negativity, and we are so anxious about our future. But the COVID has also taught me one thing. One day I was like, you know what, no more negativity. Let me focus on what positive has happened out of it. It's really taught me things of gratitude. I have a good stable internet connection. I can work from home. I can spend
Yeah.
more time with my family.
Mm.
We have our jobs. Everyone is going through such hard times now. We hear so many businesses having issues. We hear big companies, have shut down everything. So far, I'm blessed. I still have my job. I still have my family. I still have my health. We love, so we hear, we I've learned how to love more, cherish people more, and also have patience. That's what I've learned. Tolerance to each other, everything. What about you? What have you learned towards this whole COVID
Yeah,
situation?
same. Actually, even this COVID situation, yeah, of course, it has created a lot of, of course, it gives like negative thoughts. People are like very anxious, including me. Yeah, I was very anxious about the future. Oh my God, when can I travel and this and that? But of course, there are some positive things that I get out of it. For example, like gratitude, like said, tolerance, patience, and one more thing, I become more aware to the surrounding. Like for example, before eating, udahlah makan aja. Sekarang before eating, cuci tangan dulu, pakai sabun dulu, terus everywhere sanitizer dulu, everything semua disemprot sana sini. Basically becoming more aware lah, put mask lah
Yes, so
wherever you need.
true.
Yeah, so basically I become more aware to ini nowadays.
Some, like even for
Yeah.
us, like the other day, even muted. Yeah, okay. Sorry, even when I'm going out of the house, now it's like, get the mask, all get the mask. Even I've become so aware, not just one mask, I keep even 2 more masks in my bag with me, just in case. Yang ini kotor, nggak sengaja, I keep it on the
Yeah.
table. And then even when, now you have new inventions, the COVID key, so you don't even press things, you hold this, you hold that, you buy this latest things, you're becoming so aware of your surrounding. Now I wonder, coba ini awareness we implement in our time, and we are so aware about our spiritual connection. Kayaknya kita nggak segini aware deh. At least I'm not this aware about my spiritual connection.
Same here, sis.
Okay. So now, back again now talking to connection, yeah? Anyone has any question at any time, please feel free to ask questions in the chat. So I'll just carry on. Now we're talking about this connection, this awareness also. Can we move on to the next slide? So what do we do? Sorry, hear me? Can we move on to the next slide, please? Okay. So what do we do to have that connection? The slide before, it was more because of how to strengthen our connection. And Hava's connection is obviously through Swami's love, to strengthen that love, but also to have buddhi. Now, what is buddhi? I'm just scrolling because I had written a couple quotes here exactly on buddhi. So what Swami has says, buddhi is different from intelligence, where buddhi is the capacity for spiritual discrimination, which is our wisdom. It is also where we can discriminate what is permanent and what is transient in his life. This is buddhi, which is wisdom. Okay. Now, how do we strengthen this line, this connection, supaya kabelnya itu nggak keluar, charge terus sama Swami? Now, how do you think, Nir, can we do that? Even though I think that's the answer.
I know this answer, but I'm pretty sure I can't do this meditation. And if people are saying, meditation, but I can't do that, Anchal.
I know. No. It is kind of part of it, but not really. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please, on the 9 codes of conduct. Okay, Swami has given us 9 codes of conduct, which is, you're right. The first one is daily prayer and meditation here. There are other 9, but the first one is daily meditation and prayer. But again, I know this is one story a lot of people have heard, but I really like the story, so I'll share again. There was this one lady, she's a housewife, and she's very busy taking care of her in-laws, taking care of her husband, taking care of, the kids, everyone. As a housewife, she's managing the whole thing. And one day she cried and she told Swami, you know what, I'm doing this. This is my duty. This is my work. I know how Swami says you should always fulfill your duty. Work is worship. So she was like, I'm doing all this. I cannot sit down and meditate. I am too busy doing all these things. You know what Swami said? As you're doing, as you're cooking, as you're stirring, as you are doing things, call out my name. Focus on me. And that is Nam Smaran. And that is a form of meditation. So meditation doesn't mean you have to go. Yes, of course, it also means that. Sorry, let me correct myself. It also means you have to sit quietly, do the right posture, breathing, different types of meditation. But that's not the only type of meditation. Nam Smaran, focusing on him. What is meditation? Is focusing to the higher source. That is meditation. So I'm sure you can do Nam Smaran, right? And for me, when I see this 9 codes of conduct, you are scared of meditation. For me, I'm scared. I'm sure what it is what it comes out dua kali lagi. One is bhajans. Attend bhajans and then family bhajans. I cannot do bhajans. You tell me to sing, I get scared the first time. More than talking in public, I get scared of singing. Even though I have to sing between just me and my mom, I get very scared. I cannot sing at all near. Now, how do I fulfill this 9 codes of conduct when it comes out two times of bhajans?
But can if bhajan, say you don't have to sing, right? Attending bhajan is already part of something. As long as you get the vibe, and as long as you, like what you said, you connect and you enjoy the bhajan, I think it's okay, right? You don't have to sing. You can just hum.
No,
That's
humming,
how
yeah, as
it is.
long as I don't distract the person next to me with my off-tune humming. But yes, so I was discussing with someone here, and that's what it is. Like, there's Swami's 9 codes of conduct. He's given it. You can do it, you can apply it. It's not just one way. Our Swami is a loving God. He knows our intention. He knows if we have the right intention to connect more to him, he will guide us and he'll make it easy. Try to apply, try to do all these things, but slowly and slowly. Even like this one thing, like, spiritual, by reading Swami's books and everything, like, how much books we had to read, right, to even prepare for this class. I felt while preparing for this class, I really connected with him. And I know you agree where our discussion went. We went from one side, we went to another side. We spoke to Sis Raki so many times. We called her, thank God for Sis Raki to help us out and guide us for this whole
Hi,
session.
sister.
So anyone, see, this is also one way. If you want to share and you want to practice the 9 codes of conduct, maybe you can come up to us and tell us you want to do a session with us, joining our session, hosting a session. That'll be amazing for us.
And you learn a lot from the session. While preparing, like what Sis Anchal said, you tend to read more, browse more. And yes, definitely, you definitely gain something out of it. So yes, feel free to contact Sister Anchal, especially right there.
And you said, Neer, like, you said that sometimes you cannot just focus on the fear. When you're doing things and all you had mentioned before, you have the fear that comes in your head beforehand, right? And we humans are always scared about fear. Like when you were prepping for the class, you were already scared. What will happen now? What will happen there? When Swami says, why fear when I am here, right? And when I was looking out on quotes on fear, there was another thing that came up, and I don't know if you've read it or heard it. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, is the screen? Yeah, there we go. Neer, have you seen this quote? Deva Priti, Papa Biti, and Sanganiti. That's your name in a way.
Yeah. So actually, I came across this already. So basically, Deva Priti means the love of God, love God. Papaniti, fear sin, and Sanganiti, morality in society. Actually, just love God and fear only sin. Yeah, tadi kan my mind was wavering, sis. Actually, I know already about it, that we fear only sin. But again, it was the mind playing trick. So ini harus praktisnya banyak.
Exactly. Swami is love. He keeps on saying that. We are love. He keeps on calling us embodiments of love, right? When he keep on saying that, so loving God, that is something, it's not as easy. We have to remember it because we have to love him unconditionally. Whether what he gives to us, whether it's a good of what we want, Sairam, thank you, Swami. Even when we don't get what we want, Sairam, thank you, Swami. Because Swami, he says, right, I give you what you need, not what you want. So sometimes even when we don't understand it, we still have to love him. Just like how our mothers, sometimes they don't necessarily give us or they don't give in to what we want all the time, but there's a reason for it. So just like that, love God and fear sin. Like you said, there's nothing else we should be scared about. In fact, when we're doing something, if you're doing something wrong, that's when you're fearful because there's some sin. If there's associated with sin, that's when you should be fearful. You should not fear God. You should fear the sin action itself. Because Swami is full of love. You cannot be like, gimana ya, nanti Swami marah, ini Swami marah. No, fear the action, the results of the action, not Swami himself. He is just full of love the whole time. And when people can do that, when you have someone who loves God and you have someone who fears sin together, they can grow. The society, there's a morality in the society. So you will create a ripple effect. By having this, your society will blossom even more. You see the connection? You see how it is your one connection with Swami. Once you strengthen this connection, you're full of this positivity, full of this, and then it becomes a whole line, of your every word, thought, and deed is just so aligned that you're not even thinking of anything. And that all is such a this ripple effect, it's contagious. It goes to the next person and next person and next person.
I agree.
And then Swami also talks about this, and he wrote a letter to his brother in, I think, 1942, if I'm not mistaken. Can we have the next slide? 1947, my bad. So his brother had asked Swami, who is your true devotee? He has so many devotees. Who is the true one? You see, that's how I'm connecting back to our first question. The true devotee, according to Swami in his letter, is someone that treats joy and grief, gain and loss with equal fortitude. So that means the ups and downs of life, you treat it the same, exactly the same. Whether you're sad, yes, it's not saying that, okay, you know what, you're sad, so Swami says this, so I cannot be sad. No, you can be sad. Of course, we are humans. But know that Swami is there and bounce back. Same way also, like when you're happy, you're exuberant, you're everything, bounce back. Come back also to reality. So same way you can treat everything. You love Swami all the time. When you treat him the same, that is a sign of true devotee. And I think that you don't need to sit and meditate. Swami has given us such easy tools so that we strengthen this guidance. We strengthen this connection with him. And that's it. That's just as simple as what we found out, or what I found out and what you read.
Yeah, so basically we have to accept everything, any situation, whether it's the happy moments or not so happy moments, like what you said just now, right? Whether you get what you want or you don't get what you want, just accept that as a Swami's prasadam. Now when we get a prasadam, we will not say no, right? Yeah. But yeah, of course, it's actually quite easy to say that, but I myself also need to practice that. So the key is, we know all these already. It's just that we need to practice on that. Yeah.
Correct. Practice, practice, practice. And we just need to focus on him, on Swami.
Yeah.
I found this quote, which I think is very beautiful. It was shared to me actually by Sis Raki. It's by Kabir, a famous poet. Is Doe. Can we go to the next slide? So I will just end the class with this beautiful quote. Okay. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. Dukha mein sumiran sab kare, sukha mein kare na koe, jo sukha mein sumiran kare, to dukha kahe ho koe. Hoye, sorry. So which says, we all think of the Lord when we are troubled, never when we're at peace. But if we held our faith during our peace, there would be no trouble at all. Because when we're going, what I understood about this, it's so beautiful. It took me, just thinking about it is just so interesting and beautiful. And it's so true. We only think of the Lord sometimes, not only, but at least I know for me sometimes when I'm troubled, I'm having issues, obviously I'll go to him more and more and more, Swami, cry, everything. But when we have, even when we're happy, when we're at peace, if we have the same faith, remember him the whole time, there would be no trouble. Because we would not even know when there's trouble. We are so used to having him the whole time in our life, we won't feel it. This trouble is nothing to us. So that's why when this connection is so strong with him, or like I said, it's so aligned, the awareness is at his heights, udah cepat sekali everything. And you are just focused on him, that your every action, thoughts and deed are just focused on him. Your mind will not waver left and right.
You're right. That's right. Paling penting, connection. And to get that connection, like what you said just now, we need to practice, practice, and practice.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think we basically summarize everything. If you all have any questions or if you would like to share something, please type in the chat box.
Okay. While we wait for the chat box, let's invite Sis Chandani because I believe we have a few announcements.
Aram, Sis Anchal, Sis Neeti. It was
Hi,
a
Ram.
very energizing class. Thank you so much for doing this. And very energized. You guys did not look nervous at all. So thank you so much for doing this. Before we proceed with our weekly announcements, our dearest Auntie Mansha's mother left for the heavenly abode yesterday. If we can just start a short prayer with 3 ohms and we will end with 3 shantis.
Si Janam itu punya sister di Jakarta. Itu si Pradeep punya wife. Pastor
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Salam everyone. We had our first round of clothes distribution seva that happened earlier this week. This was for the victims of the floods in Sukabumi. So thank you so much to everyone who has donated your used clothing. This used clothing has been shared with the victims on Wednesday. We will be opening up a second round soon. If you would like to donate any used clothing or any cutleries that are still in good conditions, please do get in touch with either Brother Gopal Daryanani or Brother Amrit Shadatpuri, who will be able to share more details for this. In the meantime, young adults, stay tuned to Keluarga Besar for more information. Our most exciting celebration of the year is coming up in the next 2 months, and we currently have an offering for our beloved Swami for his 95th birthday. Let me just share my screen for this.
Loving Saram, everyone. Bhagwan's 95th birthday is less than 2 months, and we are extremely excited to celebrate this milestone. As an offer for his 95th birthday, the Sai Young Adults of Jakarta are compiling various expressions of love from all the devotees to offer him on his big day. We have 3 themes that you can choose from. Number 1, My Sai and I. Number 2, New Norms with Sai. And the last one, I don't fear when you are here. You can express your love in any expressions you are comfortable with, such as drawings, graphics, illustrations, doodles, paintings, poems, articles or compositions, or even song lyrics. If you are sending graphics, illustrations, paintings, or drawings, kindly take a high resolution picture and send us the HD version. Please email all your offerings to saiyoungadultjakarta@gmail.com before 25th of October 2020. If you have any queries, please feel free to contact Sister Preena Lalwani or Sister Ninyoman Maitri Purvasi. Their details are as below. Thank you, and we are looking forward to all your beautiful creations. Jai Sai Ram!
Sai Ram semuanya. Hari ulang tahun Bhagawan Sri Satyai Baba yang ke-95 tinggal 2 bulan lagi. Kita semua pastinya sangat berantusias untuk merayakan momen yang sangat penting ini. Maka dari itu, saya Young Adults Jakarta ingin memberikan sebuah persembahan yang sangat spesial. Kami ingin mengumpulkan berbagai macam jenis karya seni cinta dari seluruh anggota demi memberikan yang terbaik untuk persembahan di hari besarnya nanti. Dan kami memiliki 3 tema yang dapat kalian pilih. Yang pertama, ada Aku dan Saiku. Yang kedua, Norma Baru Bersama Sai. Dan yang ketiga, Aku Tidak Merasa Takut Saat Engkau di Sini. Dan kalian dapat mengekspresikan cinta kalian melalui hal yang kalian sukai. Seperti misalnya, desain grafis, gambar, ilustrasi, coretan tangan, lukisan, puisi atau artikel atau karangan, atau bahkan esai dan juga lirik lagu. Mohon untuk mengirimkan seluruh karya kalian melalui email ke sayangadultsjakarta@gmail.com. Mohon juga untuk mengirimkannya sebelum tanggal 25 Oktober 2020. Jika ada hal yang ingin ditanyakan, mohon langsung menghubungi Sister Prina, Sister Ninyoman Maitri ke nomor-nomor berikut ini. Kami sangat menantikan seluruh karya kalian yang sangat indah. Jangan lupa untuk memberikan karya terbaik ya, karena kami juga ingin mempersembahkan yang terbaik untuk Begawan. Terima kasih. Jai Sairam.
Sairam, everyone. If you would like to share any of your contributions or any of your creations for our beloved Bhagwan's birthday, please do get in touch with Sister Prina or Sis Nyoman Maitri for more details. Sister Niti, back to you.
Thank you, Sis Chandi. Okay, so this is the end of our session. Thank you so much for participating, for joining the session, and Jai Sairam. But before we end everything, let's just end it with 1 Om and 3 Shantis. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, thank you.